It's hard to imagine that there are places in our world where we are not allowed to visit. Yet, there are a number of them. To name a few, there are military bases that want only their staff members to access. Historical sites that are so fragile that they can be seriously damaged by the mere human presence. Today, we will be looking at 10 places on Earth you are not allowed to visit. The Moscow Metro 2. Did you know that there is a series of secret tunnels and train tracks, even platforms sprawling underneath Moscow? The entire complex was built in utmost secrecy that, even today, people aren't allowed to go down there. In preparations for a nuclear catastrophe during Stalin's rule, the KGB built a secret metro system underground that mirrored the public Moscow Metro. Christened Metro 2, and was codenamed D6 by the KGB. Buried about 600 feet underground, 4 lines connect government buildings like the Kremlin with the Federal Security Service's headquarters, the government airport, and several other important locations. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang. Serving as the final resting place of China's first emperor, access is restricted for a variety of reasons. First, it's out of respect for a very important figure in Chinese history. And two, might be because opening the inner chambers might be risky. The tomb itself is believed to be filled with mercury. The first emperor was obsessed with immortality, and has been known to even drink mercury, believing that it would give him everlasting life. Any access to the tomb is limited to the outside. You can visit the perimeter and view a few artifacts including the famed Terracotta Army. North Sentinel Island. North Sentinel Island is one of those places that you would never want to visit if you value your own life. Located in the Bay of Bengal, it is inhabited by natives who have long opposed any influence from the modern world. They would even show their opposition in very violent ways. If they see any vehicle approaching by sea or air, they viciously attack. In fact, attempted encroachment into their island has resulted in 3 deaths in recent years. Following the 2004 tsunami when the Indian Coast Guard flew a reconnaissance mission over the island, men reportedly emerged from the forest and shot arrows at the helicopter, which did not land. The island people are said to have lived on the island for 60,000 years. No visitors allowed here. The Queen of England's bedroom. Buckingham Palace is one of the most visited tourist attractions in the UK. It's the Queen's official London residence, and has been home to Britain's monarchies since 1837. Public tours are available, and tourists can have access to many of the rooms and palace grounds. However, there's one room that nobody is allowed to enter: the Queen's bedroom. The Queen spends most of her time here. Only the Queen and a few others have access to this forbidden room. However, in 1982, Michael Fagan was able to break into it, possibly one of the greatest security breaches. He scaled a 20-foot wall and climbed a drain pipe, went into the Queen's bedroom, purportedly to win a bet with his friends, with other reports saying, just to talk to the Queen. The Coca-Cola recipe vault. The secret formula is actually kept under lock and key in one of the most secure places on Earth, the Coca-Cola vault in Atlanta. The vault, like one straight from a film, has a palm scanner, a numerical code pad, and a massive steel door. Inside its walls, there's another safe box with more security features. And inside that, the recipe in a metal case. The Church of Our Lady, Mary of Zion. This chapel in Ethiopia is said to be the final resting place of one of the most important archaeological and religious artifact in the world, the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant, according to the Bible, is the vessel that holds the original stone tablets, where the Ten Commandments were written. It is also believed to possess unworldly power, which kills any unworthy person who sees it, much less get close to it. In fact, there's only one person allowed to view the Ark, a special guardian monk anointed by the predecessor. The church dates back to 4th century AD. And the grounds also include the remains of Tekel Georges I, the last emperor to exercise authority on his own. The Mormon Church Secret Vault. This is the underground bunker, where Mormons keep their genealogical backup data, deep in the solid granite cliffs of Little Cottonwood Canyon. The church has been collecting genealogical data from all kinds of sources, from all over the world for over 100 years. Inside the vault are 3.5 billion images on microfilm, mostly of family history records. They have become the largest such repository, and the data itself is open to anyone who uses their website or comes to their buildings in downtown Salt Lake City. However, they don't do public tours of the granite vaults where all the original microfilm is kept, for security and preservation reasons. The facility was built in the 60s. The island of Poveglia. Everything about this island sounds like a horror movie. From its mass death pits to the human experiments. The scale of the horror is so unbelievable, the very earth itself is said to be 50% human remains. It's no wonder it was voted one of the most haunted places in the world. It is a tiny 18-acre island, and has been abandoned for decades. It was used as a quarantine center during the bubonic plague pandemic. The island was chosen to detain and vet the network of incoming ships into Venice for a period of 40 days. This is where the term quarantine originated, as quaranta means 40 in Italian. Many died and were buried in mass graves or cremated. More recently it was used as an asylum. Patients suffering heinous experiments. Diego Garcia Island. Chagosians were the indigenous people of Diego Garcia. But, from 1965 to 1973, the U.S. government put them on boats and shipped them off to Mauritius. In order to accommodate the new U.S. military base, the island of Diego Garcia was completely emptied of all the local peoples. It is now known as the Island of Shame, but to the U.S. military, an important asset. The military base on the island is one of the most strategically important and secretive U.S. military installations outside the United States. Located near the remote center of the Indian Ocean, and accessible only by military transport. The little-known base has been instrumental in American military operations, from the Cold War to counterterrorism, and may house a top-secret CIA prison. And finally, Fort Knox. It was established in 1918 as Camp Knox, and became a permanent military post in 1932. For maximum security, the U.S. Bullion Depository, a solid bomb-proof structure with mechanical protective devices, was built there. in 1936, to hold the bulk of U.S. gold reserves. During World War II, the gold vault was used to store the original copy of the Magna Carta. People often use the name Fort Knox when talking about a place that's extremely well guarded or impossible to enter without permission. Since 1940, Fort Knox has been the U.S. Army Armor headquarters with various training schools. All U.S. Army armored soldiers serve there at least once during their enlistment. Its Patton Museum displays American Civil War weapons and captured weapons. Which of these places would you like to visit, if given the chance? Let us know in the comments section below.